All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Sunday night. Another edition of Knicks Weekly, episode 68, where we go through the news, the rumors, and all things Knicks, man. Hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button for you boys, and share this video, man. CP the Franchise here. And on today's show, Jalen Brunson getting some high marks from Team USA camp, man. We're going to go through some of the sights and sounds of Team USA camp, including Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart coming up in the news, as well as Quentin Grimes. Plus, on tonight's episode, we're going to continue our season review series. Tonight, we're going to review the season that Josh Hart just had, as well as Isiah Hartenstein. So lock in. We got a great show for you guys, man. Alex will be here in just a little bit. But salute to everybody in the chat, man. Salute to our loyal franchise channel supporters. I see Junior Karoma in here. I see X-Mad Mex. Salute. Mr. Dons, what's going on? How you guys feeling, man? How was everybody's weekend, man? My weekend was good, man. It was nice and low-key. Went to go see the new Ninja Turtles movie, man. Me and Little Man was in there. Went to go see the movie in 3D. It was a great time. Ninja Turtles takes me back to my past. You know what I mean? My childhood. That was my time. Ninja Turtles and whatnot. So me and Little Man went to the movies. That was always a good time. And yeah, man, pretty much just low key. You know, me and the lady was just catching up on Succession and catching up on good times. So overall, a great weekend. Hope you guys had a good one. But once again, man, Jalen Brunson seems to be having himself quite a week at Team USA camp. Team USA camp is out in Las Vegas. They're going to be prepping for a friendly matchup against Puerto Rico. That will be Monday night from the T-Mobile Arena. So we'll check that out. We'll be live after the game as well. Give you our takeaways from that preseason matchup. And they'll be prepping for the FIBA World Cup, which kicks off officially on August the 25th in Manila, Philippines. But on Jalen Brunson, man, his coach Steve Kerr had some high remarks for JB, man. He said he's a natural leader. He was asked about some of the leadership on Team USA. He pointed to Brunson. He said because he's a point guard, he immediately comes to mind. He's the one who's leading the 1-2-3 USA chants. Some guys it just comes naturally to them. That was Steve Kerr's comments on Jalen Brunson. And the team voted for who was the best player in training camp. Now, Jaren Jackson Jr. did win, but Cam Johnson put Jalen Brunson's hat in the ring. He said for his reason was because it's the point guard. He leads the team, big communicator, and big connecting piece to the team. He's the real glue of the team. So those were some of the remarks for our guy, Jalen Brunson. Seems to be impressing in camp. In the first day of scrimmage, he had a nice 4-point play to end it. We see Brunson out there putting up dunks. But overall, just seems to be getting the team into a good groove and setting the tone, setting the pace for this team, which is going to be very important. You have a crowded field in this FIBA tournament. This USA team is going to be tested. You got a lot of talented teams. We talked about Team Canada. Obviously, you have Lithuania. You have France, who's always going to be there in it to win it. And so a lot of teams stacked up with NBA players. And so this team is going to get tested. We'll see how Brunson is able to lead the way. But overall, look, a lot of fans feel like, well, it's risky. You don't want him to get hurt. This, that, and the third. I get all of that, but I think this is a great thing for him. And if he's able to come out of this thing unscathed, I think this is a role playing for Team USA that's going to continue to elevate his profile, right? He came out in the second round of the draft. He goes to Dallas. He's the backup to Luka. It's all about Luka Doncic. He's the backup to Luka Doncic. Now he steps out of that shadow, comes to New York, continues to play at a very high level where he left off in Dallas, making a name for himself and into the league, taking the Knicks into the second round. Gentleman sweep over the Cleveland Cavaliers, taking the Knicks into the second round. But all the all-star snubs, the all-NBA snubs, I think playing with Team USA is going to continue to elevate his profile around the league with the fans, with his peers, the players, and with the coaches as well. So I look at it as a good thing. Obviously, you hope that he comes out of it healthy and safe. But I think overall, this is a good move for him. And should he have the same year next season that he had last season, I think you're going to hear the name of Jalen Brunson in those all-star, in those all-NBA conversations because he's just been that good. He's just been that good. So once again, just a great job by him. And he was mic'd up on after I believe the first scrimmage. Jalen Brunson was mic'd up, and here's what he had to say in terms of his commitment to Team USA and the process going into that. Let me just refresh my page here. Here's JB. Oh, hang on. Oh, my Instagram. Come on, man. What are you doing? Give me some sound here. For some reason, my Instagram is not giving me the sound on it. All right, we'll get back to that, and we'll get that fixed here. I don't know why it's not giving me any sound. We'll get back to that, and we'll get it fixed. But Brunson pushed his wedding date up so that he could make this Team USA camp and ultimately play for his team in the FIBA World Cup. So, it shows good commitment, good dedication by him, wanting to be out there for his team. And so just a great job by him. Let's see if we got the sound here.
You don't really get a lot of opportunities like this. So obviously I have to make sure everything was okay on the personal side. But everything worked out. Once I committed to something, I've been taught as a kid from my parents never to really, quit or stop something short. If I'm committed, I gotta be all in. I think for me it's a no-brainer first and foremost. You get a chance. You don't really get a lot of opportunities like this. So I obviously have to make sure everything was okay on the personal side. But everything worked out. Once I'm committed to something, I've been taught as a kid from my parents never to really, quit or stop something short. If I'm committed, I gotta be all in. I think for me.
All right, shout out to Close Up 360 for that one. Their soundbite worked. So Brunson said, "Listen, man, once he commits to something, he sees it through, and that's a great character trait, a great leadership trait." He always talks about his parents. He bigs up his parents a lot. Very grounded kid. You gotta like that about him, especially when he's playing here in New York. That's leadership, man. That's the leadership that Steve Kerr's talked about. That's the leadership that that a lot of his teammates on Team USA have been talking about, and the leadership that his teammates with the Knicks have talked about. And another soundbite here. Shout out to our guy Ian Begley, who interviewed Jalen Brunson after, I believe, the first or second day of practice, was asking Jalen about Julius Randle's comments about how much Jalen Brunson helped him throughout this season. And this was Jalen Brunson's reaction to Julius Randle's comments. Shout out to our guy Ian Begley for the soundbite here. Here he is.
Julius said the other day in New York that he felt like you really pushed him just the way you worked. He's a worker, you're a worker, but he felt like just being around you pushed him. Did you notice that during the year?
The one thing I noticed is that Julius does work. So that's a compliment coming from him. But I mean, he has that mindset. I mean, I may have helped a little bit, but that's really all him. He's a worker. He comes in every day, does what he has to do, practices, and just make sure he gets all his work in. So I mean, it's I think I help and I bring a type of leadership to the team. Julius has always had that mindset of being able to work hard.
All right, that was Jalen Brunson. Always deflecting, and never wants to take too much credit for anything. He says, look, that's on Julius, that's on his work ethic. But it was clear in terms of Randle's approach to the season for the most part last season and how Brunson has handled the spotlight, even in losses, taking accountability and really being a leader. And that's what it's all about, man. It's very important. It's a quality, it's a trait of his that is almost as big as the talent that he brings to the team. It's his leadership quality, man, as a point guard, as the head of the snake, as the leader of the team is just very important. So, we got a good one here. We definitely got a good one here. So that was Brunson's camp so far. And these guys are going to get a real shot at it as they play Puerto Rico Monday night in the friendly matchup out there in Las Vegas. So that was Brunson. Now, Quentin Grimes also had some comments regarding Julius Randle and his work ethic. Shout out to Ian Begley once again. Quentin Grimes met with Ian Begley during Team USA camp. Let me just slide this over for the people at home. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to our loyal franchise channel members. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Let's get those likes up. Knicks Weekly, episode 68. So Quentin Grimes, couple of things on Julius Randle. This is from our guy Ian Begley. It says Grimes was asked on Friday about Julius Randle playing hurt during the playoffs. Randle underwent arthroscopic surgery, as we know. Returned from an ankle injury to play against the Cavs, re-aggravated against the Heat, and immediately got the surgery after the series. So there was a lot of talk back and forth between, the Randle supporters, the Randle detractors. Give him a break. He's on a bum ankle. No, we're not going to give him a break. He flopped in the playoffs again. So Grimes was asked about that, and his comment was that it just really shows you that nobody should be questioning his toughness, how much he wants it, how much he cares about the team, how much he cares about winning. I think there's a certain narrative around him, which I think is total BS. It's a family show. It's total BS, honestly. He cares a lot about this team. He does everything he can possibly do to make sure his body is right and to make sure he's in the best shape possible to make sure that he can give it his all. So that's my dog. It just shows you how much he wants to win. So that was Quentin Grimes' comment. Now, in terms of Grimes' comment, some fans thought, well, he's supposed to say that. That's what he's supposed to say. That's a cookie cutter answer. It's your typical PR response. That's what most fans were thinking there. I didn't think it that way. I thought this was a genuine response by Grimes. Some guys would kind of just keep it high level, say what they need to say, and get rid of the question. But I thought Grimes was sincere in terms of coming to bat for Julius. But I also don't think that, at least from my perspective, in terms of talking to you guys out there, engaging with you guys on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, so on and so forth, I never thought that the narrative about Julius was that he's not tough or that he doesn't care. I never thought that. I think Randle cares a great deal. Every season when he comes into camp, you've never had to say, well, he looks out of shape, he looks slow, he looks this. He always looks fantastic when he comes into camp because he puts in the work. He's a very hard worker. Meta World Peace came on this show, talked about Julius Randle and his work ethic. I just heard an interview with Tom Crean, the former coach at Indiana, as well as he coached Anthony Edwards at Auburn. He even said, look, Julius Randle works hard, man. He talked about stories about Randle wanting to work out with Kobe, with LeBron and D Wade when they were out in LA one time. So Randle works hard. That's not the narrative. I think the narrative around Julius is, can he step up in a big spot? Is he a big time player? He's one of the guys. He's one of the big three. Can he deliver for you with a big time performance when it counts? And that's still left to be determined. But yes, he works hard. If he didn't work hard, he would never be an all-star, because I don't believe he's a guy that can just rely on natural talent. He puts in the work. To make it to 2 all-star games and make it to 2 all-NBAs, you're putting in work, man. You're putting in work. There's no doubt about it. And this team, the 2 years that they made the playoffs with Randle here, he was a tremendous piece to making it. So I understand the detractors and the people that say, well, he hasn't delivered in a big spot, because I've been one of those people. But you can't turn around and say that he doesn't work hard, because that's just not true. That's just not true. Now, how he channels his energy is a different thing, because the passion is great and the intensity with which he brings to the game is great. But we've also seen where that it as much as it helps him get into things, it also takes him out of things. And that's been a detriment to not just himself, but the team. This is why this season you saw him meditating with the medical trainer. I don't know this guy's name. He's no longer with the team. He didn't sign his next contract with the team, but he's no longer there. But every game you saw Julius getting into that mental, if you want to call it meditation, you want to call it mindfulness, whatever the case may be. So he understood there was an issue there. The team understood there was an issue there. That's the second issue. First issue is can he deliver in a big moment, in a big spot, and really help his team? Second issue is mentally, is he still with the team in pivotal spots? You see Brunson, man. He doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low, he doesn't get rattled. That's why Brunson is so key to being the leader of this team. But for Julius, that's the thing. Can he channel it for good? So those are the two things. That the narrative was never, to me, was never about does he care or is he working hard or does he want to be out there? I never saw that because I see a guy that does care, but it's can he channel his energy the right way? Does he have the mental toughness to get through high pressure situations? Can he make good decisions under duress in high pressure situations? I think that's left to be seen, and that's just an honest critique. So that was Grimes' take on Julius. Now, okay, we got Al here. We're going to get Al in here in just a second. Salute to Al. Al, we're going to get you in here in a second. Just go ahead and turn your camera on. We'll get you in here. Now, Grimes also spoke on JJ Redick because, as we know, he did meet with JJ Redick over the offseason and spent 2 days in the Hamptons with JJ Redick. So Grimes has been all over the place. He was in the Hamptons with JJ Redick last month. He went to Houston to go work out with his trainer, and now he's in Vegas. So Grimes is putting in the work. He's all over the map, hoping and trying to get better. He says it was time well spent, probably the best 2 days I've had all summer in terms of playing with JJ Redick. He talks about JJ Redick's resume. He said he got a real good workout with him, picking his brain on how to come off of pick and rolls, down screens, pin downs, floppy action. Really just try to make as much as I can from him, take as much as I can from him and incorporate it into the upcoming season. Excellent. Excellent news, man. Excellent news. And as Quentin Grimes says, he's trying to make more plays off of the dribble. He says he's just been getting a lot more comfortable with the ball in my hands in the offseason, making plays for myself and my teammates, making more plays off the dribble, shooting off the dribble, taking my defense up to another notch. I guard the best player almost every night, really just trying to be more consistent, try to be in the best shape possible. So that's great, man. You got to love it. You got to love it. Speaking of work ethic, speaking of somebody who cares, it's Quentin Grimes trying to get better. He's in the gym with JJ Redick, one of the best movement shooters in a minute. And that's a great tutor for Quentin Grimes, man. That's absolutely a great tutor for Quentin Grimes. So, great thing. Great news to hear that Grimes is trying to take his game up another notch and become a much more well-rounded player in year 3. Al, go ahead and turn your camera on when you get a chance. And we'll get you in here and do the damn thing. So to everybody in the chat, man, hit that thumbs up button for your boy, CP the Franchise here. Alex Rotaro's about to jump in here in a second. Knicks Weekly episode 68, man. Hope you guys are doing well and having a good weekend. One quick thing here, guys. I want to alert you guys to a new sponsor that we have here, man, and that is Caldera Lab, man. And fellas, one of the things that's very important is your first impression, man. Whether you're out there on the job, you're out there meeting the ladies, whatever you're doing, first impression is a must. For us content creators, we're always behind the camera, whether it's here in the studio or I'm at SNY on TV, whatever the case may be. Your first impression and your appearance is everything. And that's why I want to rock with Caldera Lab, man. They are one of the top-notch men's skincare companies, and you guys got to check them out. A lot of the skincare brands, they target women a lot, and there's really not much out there for the men. And that's why I linked up with my guys at Caldera Lab. Now, with Caldera Lab, it's kind of a 3 or 4 product package that you got to check out here. This is called the Regimen. All right. Now, what the Regimen consists of, first and foremost, you have the Clean Slate. Now, the Clean Slate, that's your daily cleaner. You're going to use this in the morning time and the nighttime. Once you brush your teeth, slap this on. You wash your face as well. You're going to do this at night. Then you're going to follow that up with the base layer. The base layer, this is your facial moisturizer. This is your facial lotion right here, right? So you got the base layer, boom, boom, boom. Slap that on, and then you throw on the Good. Now, the Good, this is for your nighttime serum. It's good to help make your skin look a little bit tighter, make it look smoother, and it's got a ton of antioxidants, really, really enrich your skin and give you that good, healthy, clean look. Now, they also have the Icon. All right, now you got the Icon. It's a nice serum for your eyes, helps you with the fine lines, dark circles, any puffiness under your eyes. You could use the Icon, in the morning time, nighttime, whatever you choose. The good thing about Caldera Labs is at 94%, and when they did their clinical trials, 94% of men's skin showed an overall younger and better looking appearance after using Caldera Lab for a few weeks, man. It's a really effective product, and for those of you at home, they're going to take care of us as all our sponsors do. You're going to go to calderalab.com and use promo code KFTV for 20% off. Once again, calderalab.com. Promo code KFTV, and make an unforgettable first impression that leads to the charming words, "You look younger." All right, so shout out to our guys at Caldera Labs for holding us down, man. All right, let me get Al in here. Al, hang on 1 second.
All right.
Let me get you in here, man. Get you in here.
What's going on?
How you feeling, man? What's good, bro? Live and direct, man. Good of you to join us, bro.
Sorry for being tardy.
Yeah, tardy for the party. It's all right.
Yeah, but I think it was for a good cause. I think it was for a good cause, CP. Just want to let you know.
Yeah.
Got to see our guy today.
Who's that?
The one and only OG Chuck D. My man. We got Chuck D.
Whoa, tell us a story, man. Tell us a story.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm here on vacation in can't say where I. No, I'm playing. I'm out in the vineyard right now.
Okay,
I'm hanging out.
Wait. You said it kind of fast. Can you slow down and elaborate, please? Slow down. People in the chat, then it's late, man. People in the chat, a lot of people didn't catch that. You aware?
Look, man. I'm out here because we have a baby coming soon, and we need to go on vacation. So we're out here on the vineyard. All right.
No, what's the vineyard? Is that slang? Is that like young people terms?
You know what it is.
What is that? Can you?
Martha's Vineyard, good sir.
Vineyard.
You know where I am.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Wow, that sounds pretty pricey, pretty expensive, man.
It is not.
Oh,
for me.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I'm a freeloader. So that is the best definition to
nice. You plugged in.
Yeah.
Okay. So where was Chuck?
Well, Chuck, at the Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival.
Nice.
Got to see him because his documentary is coming out, Fight the Power, which is, I recommend everyone go see it when it does come out. It's going to be on PBS, or series, docuseries on the birth of hip hop and where it came from and the cultural impact that hip hop has. So highly recommend seeing it. But, saw that it was out there. Saw Chuck produce. I was like, hey, Chuck, are you out here?
Nice.
He's like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we got to link up, break bread today.
Nice.
And we had, we got to hang out, man. Got to chill, got to chop it up. It was a great time, man. Great time.
There you go, man. Shout out to the rhyme animal, Chuck D, man. Hey, man, don't forget to invite me, man. And don't forget to invite the little people when you're going out there to the vineyard and to these festivals and stuff.
As you would say, look, I'm out. There's some stuff behind the scenes. When this is all over, I'm going to tell you. All right. I'll tell you some important stuff after this is all over. All right. Some important stuff afterwards. All right.
No doubt.
Out here, shaking hands, kissing babies on behalf of KnicksFanTV. So don't worry.
No doubt. All good.
Right?
Man.
I've been rocking my hat all day.
There we go.
Rocking it all day. Okay.
All right. Cool. All right. So give me some rap. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying just shout out to Chuck D. Throw a hashtag P in the chat.
Absolutely.
Awesome time.
Absolutely, man. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Salute my guy Ty Morris in there. Gamble, what's good? All the franchise channel members, salute. Okay, real quick, rapid fire. Brunson, a lot of high praise at Team USA camp. We've seen some of the highlights come through. Steve Kerr talking very highly of him. Some of his teammates, Cam Johnson as well. Your thoughts on Brunson based on all the sights and sounds from this week?
Brunson's a leader, man. Like everything that you hear about from Kerr, just the teammates. I mean, you just hear how much of a leader he is. And that's not shocking, man. We saw it firsthand, him playing for the Knicks this year, how much of a difference maker he is, not only on the court, but in the locker room as well. You just see how everyone was able to feel comfortable, understand their roles, able to play at a higher level, and that comes from Jalen Brunson, man. I mean, you heard Julius Randle earlier this week, right? With Maverick Carter, and how he said, Brunson pushed him to be better, to improve his game. And then when our guy Ian Begley spoke to Brunson this week out in training camp in Vegas, Brunson said Drew is a hard worker. He does all those things on his own, but it's obviously nice to hear how your teammates able to push you and be better. But this is not shocking, man. I mean, it's not shocking at all. And for Kurt to even add that, just you're talking about now a great coach, right? Four-time championship winning coach, to say the Knicks point guard is a leader. He's starting for Team USA. I think that already tells you the levels that he is as a player. The fact that everything's going to run through him. So this is just not shocking, man. And for him to do it on a large stage for everyone to see in the FIBA World Cup, everyone's going to recognize why Jalen Brunson is a treasure for New York.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I think it's only gonna help to elevate his profile, and a lot of the disrespect that he was met with last year in terms of not making the All-Star, not making All NBA. I think that'll change, man. If he has another season next season as he did last year, I think those accolades start to come in, and this sort of helps him get there. I think it does.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think everything's going to show this season, man. And I think, and the thing is, like, there's always been this conversation that when you go play in these type of settings where you're playing for a Team USA, you can look at Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Usually when you come out of these things, you play at a higher level because we're talking about the best talent, right? And unless you're talking to Gilbert Arenas today, who thinks that this is not a good team, right? You go in here, you're working with some of the best coaches. You see Spoelstra's there, you see Kerr's there, you see Ty Lue's there. You can only imagine the training and the knowledge that these guys are going to learn. And I could see Jalen taking whatever experience he gets out of this and implementing it back into the Knicks. And the good thing is, it's not only him out there, right? It's also Quentin Grimes. It's also Josh Hart. We got 3 Knicks out there who are experiencing this firsthand. So I expect those guys to take a lot and bring it back to the Knicks. And you see that Tibbs is out there, making sure everyone's doing their thing out there. It's gonna be a good experience.
Yeah,
Jalen Brunson is really going to take another level, in my opinion. After these things, there's always been that type of talk.
Yeah,
Tatum, Brown, even though there's conversations about Levine did take a step up after he did Team USA as well.
A lot of guys took a step up, and so for the naysayers to say, well, it's just extra mileage on him. Well, we'll see. We just don't know. Obviously, you want to see him come out of this unscathed. We'll see what happens there. Speaking of Grimes on Julius. This was another hot topic amongst Knicks socials. Says the commentary on Julius is total BS. The narrative that he doesn't care isn't warranted. He works hard. He always wants to be out there. And that was evidenced by him playing on the bum ankle and then going to get the surgery. Your thoughts on Grimes' comments?
Look, I think when it comes to Julius, especially even on the KFTV, man, whether like I get comments, people think that I'm just a hater, like I hate Julius. I don't hate Julius. Like I have nothing against Julius. Yeah. We come on the show, we talk about how he plays on the court, man. That's all we discuss. We want to see him play better. I said this when I was on, I've said this on other podcasts as well. We have a high expectation for Julius. We're talking about 2 seasons ago when he gave the whole thumbs down, all that stuff. We saw the season prior that he's able to play at a high level. The frustration the following season is like, okay, this can't just be an anomaly. Even though we were close to believing that it was an anomaly, it's hard for a guy to do that much of a 180 and then say, this is just a fluke, right? And so when we're frustrated with the player, it's like, he can play better. And we're expecting him because he's, whether it's the first at that time, now the second at this time, there's an expectation for you when you are at that level that you are to perform at that level because your team needs you, right? So I just want to put that out there before, just to say this, because I know people like to say that he's toxic in the locker room, all this and that. We don't discuss that here because we don't know, right? We're not in the locker room. We do not do that. We do not discuss personalities. You can see some of it go on to the court. We don't get into that. We could say how, we can pontificate saying how it impacts, how players can get frustrated in the moment.
Yeah.
That's true, right? Because you could say, hey, there's a play open. Happens all the time. Whether you play pickup, high school, it doesn't matter. It happens. Mm-hmm. But I think for Grimes, he's spot on when he's like, I could see Julius being that type of guy. We heard it from reports where Julius is a leader. Even Steve Popper, shout out to our guys over at Knicks Film School. He went on there and he's mentioned. I think he even spoke about it with you, with Bagley, how he is a leader and how he is a smart player, and he looks for those details. Right when you've been on the putback with Ian Bagley, so this is not shocking that he's considered a good teammate.
Yeah.
Like at the, I mean, you could go the contrarian route, like, oh, what player wouldn't talk bad about his teammate? Well, we've seen that before in the past. We've seen how guys are able to go completely go past that, not even address it. But for Grimes to say it, I think that it gives you an indication of how he is respected as a teammate in the locker room, and that doesn't surprise me, man.
Well, the problem is that, and I've had this conversation with a lot of people, and even Charlie Ward jumped in on this topic. And shout out to Charlie Ward, man. He always engages with us on our Instagram. Big fan of the program. But I think what the issue is that as social media has become the fabric of our society, part of our daily life. You wake up, you're checking your gram. You wake up, you're checking your Twitter, your Facebook, your YouTube. And for some of you, that's the first thing you do before you even brush your teeth or kiss your kids, right? And so there's so many forums. Everybody has a camera. Everybody has a keyboard. Everybody has a microphone. There's forums. Everybody has a voice, whether it's written or it's heard or it's seen. It's different. And so when and everybody's curating their own experience, their own engagement experience. So therefore, if you're in forums that's taking personal shots at them, or it's overly negative, or it's hypersensitive, then that is what you're gonna feel like is the narrative or is the tone of the fan base, right? I was talking to my guy Anthony Parasol about this. Back in the Ewing time, it was the same thing. It's just you only had but so many mediums to hear fans voicing their opinion. It was sports radio, or like the occasional person that Eyewitness News would interview outside of a game for an important game. Other than that, the only opinions that you're hearing are your sports analysts on the radio or your newspaper beat writers. Those are the only ones that you're getting. But now, in this day and age, everybody is a voice. Everybody has a voice. Everybody has an opinion. And so it becomes a lot more of a powder keg.
Oh, yeah.
So, fans are like, well, we got to start coming down on our players, stop coming down on our players. I'm like, most fans, for the most part, don't. But some do. It just is what it is. You're never going to stop it, bro.
Hey, look, we listen to the PG podcast, right? And Julius talks about the love that he gets from New York fans, man. Yeah. He's like, it is overwhelming. So I think for the most part, most people are happy. They appreciate Julius's work, but you could find negativity anywhere you go, man. Look, you and I deal with negativity just doing what we do right here, right? Yeah. We get those comments. But everyone's going to get those comments. It doesn't matter where you are, man. There's someone trying to be a bully somewhere. The question is, how do you deal with it? And for the players, they're on a major platform, man. It's all eyes on them, and especially in New York, one of the largest cities, man. It's the Mecca for a reason. Look, we know how it is in New York. You're going to get scrutinized for every little thing that you do. Every little thing that you do. You can get scrutinized if you won a championship. You're like, why'd you go for that layup even though you won, right? Like that's just kind of how New York is. Yeah. So I think for the players, the best thing that they can do is try to stay on social media as much as possible, because if you search far enough, you can go find the negativity. Like it's just there. And once again, it's like, how do you handle it? But to your point, like everyone has an opinion. But it's one thing to have an opinion based on facts and what you're seeing rather than just making stuff up out of thin air, right? Yeah. That's the difference. That's the difference.
I mean, listen, man, if you go back to the interview we did with Chris Herring about his fantastic book, excellent book, Blood in the Garden, about the 90s Knicks, there's an early story in that book where this is back in the early 90s where they're having a Patrick Ewing poster night. Everybody in the Garden gets one. The Knicks stink up the joint, and half the posters end up on the court. So this is nothing new. It's just that the platforms are just now in abundance, and everybody has a voice. So that's that, man. Julius will be all right. No worries about that. Now, Josh Hart. Josh Hart's name also came up in the in Team USA camp, and we're going to talk about Hart in terms of our season review. But a couple things did come up that I want to get your opinion on. Just give me a couple seconds. So it's everybody in the chat, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. A couple of things did come up here with the Josh Hart situation, and one of them was on his contract extension. Now, we had this conversation. He did opt into his deal, the $12.9 million. So he's going to be making $12.9 million this,
he did a favor.
This coming season. Did the team a favor. It allowed them to sign DiVincenzo or get closer to signing DiVincenzo to the mid-level exception, and they were able to get him in there. So he took some sacrifices. Now, a lot of people thought that, myself included, that meant that he was going to get a nice bag and that the Knicks were going to reward him. The whole family's together, the CAA thing, the Nova connection, all that, the whole 9 yards. And so he's going to be back, and you can expect that number, for according to what Bondi's saying, that the Knicks and Josh Hart are discussing around a 4-year, $75 million extension. So that's going to put him close to the 20 mark. And here's what Josh Hart had to say from Team USA camp, just in terms of staying with the Knicks and signing the extension.
I know later this summer, next week, I guess, you can officially sign a longer-term extension. Is that something you feel confident you're going to be able to get done? Or
hopefully, like I said, opting in, and I was going to take it a day at a time. And we get there, and then we can start having that conversation. So hopefully, like I said, that's the place I want to be. It's the place I want to call home. So we'll see. You know what I mean?
All right. The usual response. I want to be here with everybody. So, look, it's just a matter of signing the paper when it's ready. Yep. And they'll at some point this month we'll hear that he's going to get close to. I think that 4-year, $75 million, man. Your thoughts on that?
Probably what he's going to get. I mean, he's going to. The thing is that he did the favor, right? So he's looking like, hey, I did you a favor. We got DiVincenzo in here. Help me out here. So. Look, the thing is it's not the extension, right? It's not even the contract that I'm thinking about, because we saw how impactful he can be on this team. Just the intangibles that you're not going to see in the box score all the time, right? The hustle, the grit, the ability to just be a free safety out in the court and just cause a turnover. Those things, those intangibles won't show up necessarily in the box score, but the energy that he just gives his team and the ability just to attack out and transition and to be a gritty defender, totally necessary on a Tom Thibodeau team. My thing is, when you give him that extension, right, what does that mean for the following players, such as Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, anybody else, Jericho Sims, if you want to throw him in there, because this is going to be the second of his 3-year contract, so he'll have another year after this. Those are the questions that I have. Do you still want to retain Isiah Hartenstein? Like, his contract's done this year. So if you're going to give Josh Hart this extension, are you thinking about drafting someone the following season, right? These are all the questions that I have, saying, what's this roster going to look like moving forward? Because as we're seeing, it's either you get paid a lot or you're getting a mid-level exception, right? And with that looking this way in the NBA, and Jalen's going to get paid.
50.
If Julius is here, he might get paid, right? So if you're going to have those two guys get paid, what does it mean for everybody else? So I'm thinking more so long-term, as in who's going to be on this team moving forward and what is this roster construction going to look like? But for Josh Hart, okay, I think he deserves that money just based on the production they had in that short time. But obviously once you get paid like that, right? And still there's this in between where really the contract value and the expectations that we had a few years ago, it still hasn't met there, right? Mm-hmm. And where Corey has always said this, we should really do in percentages, how much is taken up on the cap to really understand
percentage of the cap. Yeah.
Because when you hear the number today out of what the total salary cap is, it's oh, that's a lot of money. But in the perspective of things, it's is it 10, 15? So for that year, but the question is, after signing that, is he going to produce the same way that we saw him? I don't think we'll see that hyper efficient.
Yeah.
When he came to the Knicks, rose 20 to 25 games.
51% from three. I mean,
Where you gonna see that, buddy?
Two attempts. But he was hitting them. He was hitting.
Hey, and that I don't expect, right? But can he still what does his production look like on this team with another year under a Tom Thibodeau system with more continuity? What does he look like? That's what I'm curious about. I'm not expecting that hyper efficiency, but I want to see where it evens out, and then that will be the true testament of whether or not if it's an overpay and underpay, right? Because right now we're talking about Julius and Brunson as underpays.
Yeah,
we'll see how Josh Hart is moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, look, as you said, you have to look at it as how much percent of the cap is it going to be. But even you look at some of these comparable salaries. I mean, Markelle Fultz is getting 17 right now. Davis Bertans, Harrison Barnes, Marcus Morris. Markkanen's getting highly underpaid. He's going to get a huge deal. D'Angelo, D'Lo, Sexton, Jonathan Isaac doesn't even play. He's making 17-4. Timmy, close to 18. Norman Powell, 18. Duncan Robinson, 18. DeJounte is going to get his money's going to start going up starting next year. 25, only 25 for DeJounte Murray. So as far as what Hart is getting, he's in that caliber of those players.
Yes.
In terms of his impact. Now, sometimes it might come offensive. It's going to come in a variety of ways. I think the thing about Hart is what is, and we can kind of segue this into his season review as well. But you can't game plan for a guy like that. No. Defensively, yes, you might be able to scheme and take some chances in terms of crowding the paint and forcing him to beat you from the outside. But he brings so many other intangibles. His ability to crash the boards, his ability to bring the ball up, how he executes in transition, how he playmakes in transition, how he playmakes in the half court. He does a lot of different things that is so vital for this team that struggles in some of those areas that, to me, he's worth it for this team. Now, what the downstream impacts are, it's going to be fascinating, especially when you factor in Quick, how much he's going to want to command, and the fact that Quick and the Knicks have not yet extended his contract. That means he's going to go extra hard this year. Will the minutes be there for him this year as it was in years past over the last 2 years? Because with Hart and with DiVincenzo, somebody's minutes are going to get eaten into. And so it's I know, I wouldn't say I know. The thought is, well, Obi's gone, so how would it really impact somebody like Quickly, DiVincenzo, Grimes? They're all playing the guard position. So who's going to close is the big question. Yeah. And on what night and how many nights are they going to close? Right. So it's even hard to think of is RJ going to close this season? We don't even know that, right? Yeah,
we have because the way that the Knicks attacked this offseason is that they're going with the belief that their guys are going to improve. And I'm looking at Quickly, I'm looking at Grimes, and I'm looking at RJ. They have to have some belief that these guys are going to take another level this season in production. And we've talked about this earlier once the season was over in other weekly shows. These are the guys that if you're not going out there big fish hunting, you're expecting these guys. Then this is the calculation that one of these guys or all of them, that'd be the best case scenario, is that they take another step in their development, right? Whether that's Quickly becoming better in isolation, whether that's RJ developing a mid-range game, whether that's Grimes getting more responsibilities on offense and being able to live up to that, right? We're going to have to see if that all pans out for these guys, and that's going to determine who's going to get more minutes. But then it's just curious, you got DiVincenzo in here, he's got to play.
Who came off of 20 northwards of 25 minutes a game with Golden State. That 10 minutes of Obi. See, Obi's minutes went in inverse to Julius's minutes. Whatever Julius got that night, you subtract that from 48, you got Obi's minutes for the most part. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is with Hart, I feel like, yeah, he's going to get that backup 4 spot. But obviously he's going to be more than 10. And then with DiVincenzo here, it's going to be more than 10. So it's going to cut in. Grimes is going to get some cuts. Might be quick. Might be RJ.
This is where
you're going to be shaving off a couple minutes there.
This is where it's fascinating, CP. This is where it's very fascinating because say if the Knicks are doing well, right? Say the Knicks are doing well. They're playing on, let's say they're actually continuing on that 50-game pace, right? That they were last season because the roster hasn't really changed that much. They're winning. Everything's, from a team's perspective, everything is good. But let's say you have someone like Quickly. That's like, we know he wants to be a starter in this league, but he's not getting minutes right now. Is a trade imminent by the deadline because there's no extension yet? Like, do you take advantage of his value of being second place, 6th man of the year? I mean, he did that in his 3rd season. That's very impressive for a guy his age. And for a guy with so little, like, in the whole grand scheme of things, like, experience-wise, only 3 years, and it took it to be, second running for 6th man of the year, where he could have, a few votes in his way, he would have won it, right?
Yeah.
So, does he say, hey, look, I'm not getting the minutes that I think I deserve. I was just second in 6th man of the year, but I'm not getting the same minutes I did last season. I was, the 3rd most important player on this team. When Brunson wasn't here, I was feeling that scoring need. And now just because DiVincenzo's here, we have Hart here, I'm not getting those minutes. Like, do the Knicks say, like, what do the Knicks do in that situation? What would you do if that's the case?
You can't trade quick when you're trying to compete, man. I don't think they're in a position to do it.
But that's the thing, right? Like, they're not in the position to do it because they're looking. If I'm the Knicks, I'm looking at Quickly. Like, if I'm trading Quickly, I probably want, like, he's going to be part of a package deal for something larger, right? Like, that's how I'm thinking of. But let's be real. Like, players also have a say in, like, their careers and what they want to do. Like, we've seen players. I'm not saying Quickly is this. I'm not saying Quickly would do this, but it's like we see that players want to make sure that they can get to where their careers are. I mean, we go look at Evan Fournier right now, right? Even just the minor scuttle that he's doing right now, it's like he does not want to be here. He wants to go play so that his career is not over. And if we're thinking about it inversely for Quickly, he wants to make sure that his career is going on the right trajectory, that he's not just viewed as a bench player. So what does that leave for him if he's not getting those minutes? Like, he may ask for that. That's a situation for, like, a team's perspective where if you're adding a lot of players at the same position and someone's losing minutes, that's tough.
It's possible, man. And they also run the risk of, if you let Quick go to restricted free agency, you could have a team try to poison pill up his I don't think they would get outbid necessarily, especially the way with the CBA and everything like that. I'm not sure he gets outbid because I think he'll be looking for more of a longer term contract. Like, he's not going to go out there and get like a Bruce Brown balloon type of deal. I think he's looking for more security than that. But they could run the risk of having a team try to manipulate that contract where you throw some poison pills in there, you're throwing all kind of stuff in there. And with them looking at that new CBA, that could really impact them if they're looking to match any type of deal for IQ. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when we talked to Trevor Lane from Laker Nation when he was saying that, when we talked about Austin Reeves and how San Antonio was kind of flirting with the idea of giving Austin Reeves some type of crazy contract, knowing that the Lakers would match, but adding in these clauses that might hurt the Lakers down the road contractually and from a salary cap wise. So it's very interesting. It's going to be an interesting game of chicken between the Knicks and IQ, man, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm interested if he gets paid this season. I think he should, man, because of, like, how valuable he is.
Yeah,
for a guy, what he does, like, Quickly is very important for what this team does. There's no way you cut it. Like, for what he was projected as a draft pick to what he is now, he's so important to this team. Like, I'm not advocating that I want him to be traded or anything like that. But you look at like we're having this discussion because of his value, man, and I'm sure he's very much aware of his value. Look, we know his connections that were like saying, like, remember the complaints of the beginning of last season where it's like Quickly's not getting enough playing time, this, that, and the third, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying it's out there. It's out there. We've seen it before where players or even players' connections push for them to get more minutes because they have to recognize their own value. Right?
True indeed, man. And Quick, just like many of the other Knicks, man, putting in work in the offseason, man. You see Quick, he's all over. He's in Spain. He's in Marbella. He's in Miami. He's all over the map, putting in work, working on his game in the offseason, man. That's another guy that's putting in the time, putting in the effort. Shout out to the Rhyme Animal Chuck D. Al, $5 super chat from the legend. He says, Julius Chamberlain, LOL. Tibbs going to play Randle 44 minutes a game without Obi. Pressure. We cannot be done this offseason and dealing. It's risky. Yeah, but it's looking like it, man. I mean, maybe, you never know who might shake loose in training camp or who they decide to pick up. There's still some guys out there, veteran minimum guys that might be available if the Knicks are looking to get a power forward. I don't think JaMychal Green has been picked up. A lot of fans were interested in Christian Wood, but he's maybe out of the Knicks price range. We'll see. Could Christian Wood be a guy that, it can only get the vet minimum out there just based on how the market went this year? We'll see, man.
That one, it would be interesting to me just because I mean, he's wanted a starting role in this league, right? And pretty sure he played 26 minutes last season. So is he really, like, you talked about Julius playing 36, Obi getting 12. Christian Wood's going to be happy with what, 18?
Right.
I don't see that.
Right. So.
Yeah, he played 26 minutes last year.
Yeah.
He's been for the last 3 seasons. This past season, he played 26. The year before that, he played 31. The year before that, he played 32. Before that, 21 with New Orleans 23. I don't see how you could tell him and he's 27, man. There's no way you could, unless he's like really desperate. I don't see how he would take a deal with the Knicks unless Tibbs implements some, I guess not even small ball, but like, I don't know. You got Hartenstein, so now you got to figure out the center rotation too.
Yeah,
that'd be tough. I don't see that.
How about my man Harry Giles is still out there, man. Harry Giles is still out there, and the Knicks did go to see him work out in Vegas last month. I lost my Harry Giles highlights. What happened there, man? Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up on the Fit Boys. We're talking Harry Giles here. Yeah. Nets went to go take a look at him this past week. He's down in Miami in the Pro-Am trying to show out. Harry Giles out of Duke. Highly touted prospect, but too many ACL injuries for my liking. Couple that has derailed his career. Harry Giles, man. Young player looking for a job right now. Unfortunately, but hey, this might be a guy you take a flyer on, man. Why not? Why not, man? Take a look at Harry Giles, man.
I would.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to that idea just because I don't think he would take too much out of anyone's time. It's like you're taking a flyer on somebody to see if he can provide something valuable. You know what I mean? So
listen, every player they brought in right now is taking a flyer, from Nathan Tucker to Nathan Knight to Michael Knight, all these guys. So, I dropped a Knight Rider reference. That was before your time, man.
I knew you were trying. It's like I think he was trying to go somewhere with that. I'm like, nope.
You tried to get me to the Dragon Ball Z. I dropped the Knight Rider joint on you, straight up 80s. Hasselhoff.
That
was my time.
I know. There's like a speaking car in that one, right?
Yeah. His name was Kit. See all that AI stuff going on right now, bro. We been on that a long time, man. I had the talking watches, the talkback watch. Tell you what time it is. We was on that a long time ago before all this ChatGPT stuff. Give me a break. Kit was getting it popping back in the 80s.
All I know is that they made parodies off of Knight Rider. I'm like, okay. I guess I had no idea.
Yeah, nah, Knight Rider was popping, man. Knight Rider's popping. I'll tell you one thing, man. No shame in my game. I took little man to see the Ninja Turtles movie this weekend. I don't know who liked it more, me or him. I'm in there cheesing ear to ear, breaking down the whole backstory. I'm like, yeah, this is what happened. So and so. Shout out to Seth Rogen, man. I thought the storyline was a little I didn't really think they got it popping enough from an action standpoint, but definitely from a nostalgia standpoint, you know, they brought back characters that I had like action figures of, non-Turtles characters that I had action figures of like back in the early 90s. I was like, okay, Seth going in.
Let's go.
Yeah, Seth going in with it. But
I'm sure you were the guy that had the Ninja Turtle tank that shot out pizzas.
Absolutely had the van. Yeah. I had the van. Yep. Ghostbusters. I had the Ghostbusters car, the station wagon. I had the Ghostbusters house. I had the proton pack and the trap. No, I didn't have the trap. My neighbor had the trap. So that's why I would call him. You didn't really want to hang out with him, but he had the trap. So if you had the trap and I had the proton pack, you had the complete kit, the complete collection. So you call him over, like he'd be like the third string, but you call him over because he had the trap.
Politics working heavy for that one,
politics
boy.
As a kid. You know what I mean? But I had the house and everything, the firehouse, all that stuff, man. But
right.
But yeah, back to Josh Hart, man. So Josh Hart out there in Team USA, and they were voting for the best player in camp. Now, Jaren Jackson Jr. did come and walk away with that. And good for him. Very much looking forward to, Ja wasn't so much of a knucklehead. I really look forward to seeing how much they continue to grow as a team, because Jaren Jackson Jr. certainly made a name for himself in winning the NBA's Most Improved Player award. However, one Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, put Josh Hart's name in the ring. He said, I'd say Josh Hart, he's always consistent, and he's going to bring that energy every day. So Ant-Man says it's Josh Hart, man. But I think, the point is, for me at least, is when we look at Josh Hart and his impact on this team and the season review, it was a big part of them making the playoffs, man. It was a big part of making the playoffs. Right now I'm showing the highlights from that game in Portland. And that game in Portland when the Knicks were on the West Coast string, they did beat the Lakers the night before, but they kind of lost a couple here and there. And that Portland game without Brunson, Josh Hart was just all over the court, man. And that's what we talk about impacting winning, is that he's a guy that he doesn't have to score 20. He doesn't even have to score 10 to impact this team and really help them win games. And the thing I like about him, my favorite part of his game, is that he plays at such a high energy, but he plays under control.
Yeah.
He doesn't make mistakes.
Yep.
He goes hard, he goes reckless, he goes hard, but he's under control 9 times out of 10. And that is super important, man. He just has so many intangibles for this team. I don't see how you move on without this guy on your team, man. They need him. He's a big factor on both ends of the floor. Very important for this team.
Yeah, I mean, he was part of that winning streak. He came, first game he plays, I think it was against Utah.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a 9-game winning streak from that. So very important for the Knicks this past season. Like I said, the Knicks were on that 50-game winning pace, but really, you watch that first round against Cleveland, and you see how much of an enforcer he was. Grimes gets injured during that. Quickly wasn't playing that well during that series. Hart really stepped up, man.
Yeah.
Hart stepped up during that series. And you see how important he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, against Cleveland, man. So, look, for him, you talked about it. It's the energy. But the thing that, I think, when you hear consistency in what, right? Like what Ant-Man's talking about. And energy is so important to know that you're going to get the same effort no matter what from a player, especially a role player. Big impact for a team, right? To know that you can rely on this guy night in and night out. It's like, okay, who's locked in? Josh Hart's always locked in. Brunson's locked in. You don't got to worry about those two guys from the jump. That that helps create confidence for a team, right? Like, just think about it from a team standpoint. It's like, oh, like some players, like, you don't know if they're going to have it that night, right?
Yeah.
You go in there, and if you're not sure if someone's going to have it that night, you're like, oh, you start to get the little jitters, like, oh, I got to be perfect now. Don't got to worry with those guys. You can go in there confident. You can go feel like I can play my game. They're going to do their jobs. I can do my job, and you can focus on that role, right? They talk about in football, right? Where don't focus on trying to cover for somebody else. Focus on your job and do your job the best. And that's literally what Hart does. So to pay $75 million for a guy like that, that's, compared to the guys that you talked about,
right?
For a guy who constantly plays, bargain deal. I won't say bargain deal, but you're getting what you're paid for.
Look, another area where he helps his team, and when you think about, especially two of your big three are not efficient scorers. Forget shooting. They're not efficient shooters either, but they're not efficient scorers. Josh Hart, if you want to talk about Portland and then coming to the Knicks with Portland, he was 52% at the rim, 95th percentile. With the Knicks, 51% at the rim, 94th percentile. Never changed. 66% effective field goal percentage. Like, you need those guys that can finish at the rim, get to the rim, finish at the rim. Brunson does that at pretty well, but RJ and Julius don't do that. Like, you need guys that can do that. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you need your three-point shooters, and with Hart, I think what's going to determine how impactful he is going to be on this team in key moments is, can he knock down that wide-open three when teams are going to leave him wide open if he's going to play in crunch time? Because teams are going to leave him open. They're going to go double down on Julius. They're going to double down on Brunson. Is he going to be that outlet guy that can be reliable if he's out there in a big spot?
That's the thing I hope he was working on this offseason, man. Because if he can do that, then you're really talking about a 3-and-D player, right? Then he's playing the game that, most front offices want to see, like layups, threes. Like, that's essentially what the NBA has become at this point. If he's doing that, man, team's in a good spot.
Correction on those rim numbers. Correction on the rim numbers. The first numbers I gave you was the frequency. So he went to the rim 51% of the time in terms
70?
of his shot selection. So he was in the 94th percentile, converted 70. 75 in the 93rd percentile in terms of accuracy. Finished 75% at the rim.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
At the rim. Yeah.
To have a player that finishes that well, that's what you want RJ. That's legitimately what you want RJ to do.
Yeah.
And Josh Hart's doing that.
Yeah. Shooting foul draw rate, 14.5% in the 91st percentile in drawing contact, drawing shooting fouls.
His jumper is just like, it's a little shaky.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
It's not, I'm like, he was very efficient in those 25 games, man. That's what I'm saying. This upcoming season, full 82 game season, I am very curious to see how this all plays out. Very curious indeed.
It's funny. He had some seasons with the Pelicans where he took 5.4 attempts with the Pelicans in 2019 season, shot 34% from three, 5 attempts. With Portland, when he got traded to Portland for CJ, the 13 games at Portland, he took 6 attempts a game. 6 attempts a game. How bad was his team? Yeah, they finished 13th in the West. So there you go.
That was a bad team.
Let it fly.
I was looking at those numbers. When I was
let it fly, baby.
For anyone who go to KnicksFanTV.com. Go check out the Josh Hart article I wrote when I broke the trade. Like, when Josh Hart gets a good amount of volume of threes, he can be close to league average shooting. So it's not a crazy thought. You just don't need him shooting like 6 attempts per game.
Yeah, no. you don't need him shooting them. And so for me that'll be the biggest thing with Josh Hart. It'll be in the big moments. What will be the optimal lineups with Hart? Because as we saw, when you put him in there with the starters, and if you're gonna have him out there with RJ and with and with Mitch and with Julie, that's tough. You gotta put him in good lineups. Like, I'm very interested to see how he runs with Quick and DiVincenzo and iHeart. I like that. But which starting combinations outside of Brunson is really going to work well with Hart? Not so sure.
I mean, the thing that the lineup, we know Tibbs is going to have a traditional center out there, right? If it's Hartenstein, you get more floor spacing than Mitch. So let's say if you want the most optimal floor spacing, like if you're going to have Julius out there closing games, you're going to have Brunson out there. Let's throw Hartenstein out there just for, like I said, floor spacing. Ideally you have like Grimes and IQ out there closing the game, right? But then you're like, wait a minute, we just extended RJ. What are we going to do with RJ? And you also got Josh Hart, who you think about extending.
Yeah.
I mean, if you replace one of those guys, you're just once again shrinking the court for everybody. And it's just, in my opinion, that you're just asking for the same thing we saw at the beginning for the same starting lineup, right?
Yep.
If RJ, Hart are so interchangeable from like a spacing standpoint, where you're like, if you're trying to make it better for Brunson to get downhill, if you're trying to make it for Randle to really attack the paint, you're going to have more shooters out there, which is what you would want. But we're also talking about Tom Thibodeau over here, who wants his best defenders on the floor. So forget shooting. We saw that in the playoffs, right? Doesn't matter if you shrink the court. He's like, he'll be happy with it. So it won't be great. I could see the Knicks losing some close ones by going with that type of lineup. I can also see them winning some close games because of that lineup too. But it's truly going to be a night-to-night basis on how Thibodeau closes. Like, all I know is that Randle and Brunson are closing the game. That's all I know. Everybody else, up in the air.
Yeah, it's fair points, man. Fair points. So what do you give him Hart, man? What do you give him Hart for the season, man?
For his role and his impact, I can't go too high just because he's also so short.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go 8 because he was that impactful. I can't go 9 just because it was too short of a season, man. That's too high.
I'm going 8. I'm going 8. Solid 8. They went 17-8 over the last 25 games with Hart there. Cleveland series. He was way too important for this team. I'm going 8. What do you guys think in the chat, man? Hart season review out of 10. Let us know your thoughts in the chat, man. What do you guys think about it? I think 8 is fair. I think it's a fair one.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one, man.
If he does that same production over an 82-game season, that's an easy 10.
Yeah. This is true, man. This is true. Once again, salute to everybody in the chat, man. Hit that thumbs up button for your boy CP and Alex on the ones and twos. Knicks Weekly episode 68, man. We are just talking about Team USA training camp. What else we got in tow here? Josh Hart, season review. We're going to get into Hartenstein in a little bit. Support our sponsors, man. Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping, man. Salute to our guys at Manscaped. Have a ton of great products for today's man, including the Beard Hedger Kit. Make sure you guys go get that, man, for the summertime. Clean it up, clean up the beard, and then you go get your Caldera Labs and clean up your skin, man. This is what we doing here. We taking care of you guys, not just with quality analysis, but with quality products, man. Quality products. So make sure you guys go to manscaped.com. Use promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. Okay, so we talked about Hart. Let's talk about iHeart, man. Your boy iHeart. That's your boy in Vegas. You guys are partying it up. You guys are chumming it up in Vegas. Let me go ahead and get the camera back on you. You guys were chumming it up in Vegas. You and iHeart. Did he invite you to the wedding? Did you get invited to the wedding? I know you're a little under the weather. Him and Brunson got married on the same day. You were a little conflicted. Did you go?
I know you were invited to all those weddings. I know you were invited. I know the CAA connection is very strong on that side of this panel. So they were like, "Yo, CP, come on, man, come on through for all the weddings, man."
So shout out to iHeart, man. But iHeart had himself a year, man. I thought he started off tremendously slow, really, really struggled. And, talk about a tale of two seasons, tale of two halves for him. I thought he picked it up tremendously in the second half and was a big reason why, you really had no drop-offs from your center position. You really didn't see much of a drop-off, even though he and Mitch have different games. I thought iHeart really stepped it up defensively, especially in the second half of the season. Offensively as well, he picked it up. He started playmaking a lot more. And you just saw a guy who was more comfortable in the lineup with this team. I like what iHeart gave this team. Now, what the future holds for him, we'll see. But for the here and now, he seems like the chemistry is there. It's potent with this team. He's locked in with this team. He's dialed in. Thought he had a great year, man. Thought iHeart had a great year as a backup five, man. Really filled in and filled a nice role for us.
For sure. And what makes it even more impressive is that you noted how he looked more comfortable, because for most of the time, I would say that, Tibbs needs to get a player that fits his system. And when I wrote the article for KnicksFanTV.com saying I didn't think he was going to be traded, but he just didn't fit what the Knicks did, you really need Tibbs-like players, right? Because and not everyone can adapt to be a Tibbs-like player, but you got to give Hartenstein a lot of credit for he played much differently than what he did out for the Clippers than what he did to New York. He was able to adapt, adjust, and excel at playing Tibbs style and brand of basketball. So for him to do that, you gotta give him all the kudos and the praise. And look, he was impactful in the playoffs too. He helps to the floor spacing. For me, I just like to see, because we got excited that he looked like a stretch big based on the limited amount of numbers he did for the Clippers. He only took about like somewhere between 30 to 40 3-pointers this past season. Didn't hit a lot of them. But you want to see that, just because if he can do that, then you're really helping out this team floor spacing wise. But I think defensively he took it up a notch. I mean, he had major blocks in Donovan Mitchell, man. Like every time you go back, you're like, oh, look at that key stop.
Yeah.
Right before they played Boston, man, before I attended that game. Key stop against Cleveland, right? And for him to do that, like I said, you just gotta give him credit for all of that. But I think the thing that really impresses me is that his floater is just so on point, and just being able to space the floor for this team, like with that second unit. And by the end, we even got to see him and Quickly have a good pick and roll game, right?
Yep.
And that's what I'm even more curious about. You have another season of continuity. This is what's going to be more fascinating this season, CP. Continuity, implementing more offensive plays, hopefully. And how does that look with Hartenstein because of his floater, right? Imagine him and Brunson running a pick and roll. And what do you get out of that? How do you guard that, right? Him and Quickly, how do you guard that? So his offensive ability, too, plus his ability to step on defense, made him a key contributor for this season.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Great points there. And another area where he improved was, one of the knocks on him coming out of his last year with the Clippers was that teams could offensive rebound on him. He didn't really have that floor awareness, that spatial awareness to really get after it on the defensive boards. But his defensive rebounding percentage this year was 18%. 18% compared to 18.8% compared to 15% with the Clippers. With the Clippers, he was in the 27th percentile. With the Knicks, he was in the 61st in defensive rebounding field goal percentage. So that was a good job by him. Offensive rebounding, he's there. He was in the 89th percentile in offensive rebounding percentage at 12.8. So he's very good there. He's a high-energy guy who's going to get after it. But it's really defense that picked it up. And if you look at his chart, if you go on Cleveland Glass and look at his chart, from about the halfway point, from about the midway point, like all-star break, his defensive rebounding percentage really stayed on a positive trend above his season average and above his position average. He really played well. And also, his assist percentage literally went up on an incline. Straight from about, say, mid-March all the way up. So he's a lot more efficient in his playmaking. A lot more efficient in his playmaking.
I want to see that utilized more on this team, man. His playmaking, because I feel like that was underutilized throughout the entire season, because he has, especially with like you see with the bounce passes when he found like Grimes cutting, anybody cutting backdoor, which also like to see more of that on this team too. But I feel like if we just have more movement in this offense to utilize that passing skill set, like the offense just becomes that much easier for this team. So hopefully Tibbs can figure out some plays that utilize him as a facilitator. And look, if you don't have Brunson out there and you're running a backcourt of like DiVincenzo and Quickly, who are solid, like DiVincenzo, a solid playmaker, Quickly becoming a better playmaker. If you have someone like Isiah Hartenstein out there to be another facilitator, it really just helps open up the offense. So just need to see more of that.
Yes, absolutely. Now, a couple questions here will be, do they run two big lineups? We'll get into our rotation conversation later on in the offseason. Do they go back and try another Tibbs is going to want to do it. There's going to be nights where, we're just getting outmatched on the boards, or not necessarily on the boards, but just size-wise. And Tibbs might want to tango. Suppose the Celtics tried out their KP Robert Williams lineup. Tibbs says, I got an idea.
You're giving me nightmares to like when it was like 2021, 2022 season, and like remember where we had Wayne Selden was getting minutes.
Oh Lord, Wayne Selden, man.
We had Wayne Selden getting minutes, but that starting rotation, CP, was, I think it was Kemba, Fournier, Randle, Taj, and Mitch.
Wow.
That's what you're asking for. Is that what you're asking for, CP? Is that what you want to see?
I'm just thinking, again.
Is that what you want to see, CP? That's the question.
With the backup four spot being in flux, you might see it. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities here with Tibbs.
I'm asking if that's what you want to see, CP.
No, not in particular. not in particular. But we'll see, man. We'll see, man.
I mean, I get who plays power forward. Who's playing power forward? Is it Hartenstein that's playing power forward, or is it Sims that's playing power forward?
It'll be Hartenstein.
He gets space the floor, right? Like you would think that'd be.
Yeah, I would think it'd be Hartenstein.
Yeah.
I think it'd be Hartenstein, man. But overall, good job by him. Well, what do you give him Hartenstein on the season?
I'm going 7.
I think that's fair.
I'm going 7.
What do you guys think in the chat, man?
He improved. He was much better for the latter half of the season.
Yeah.
His impact was there, but it wasn't there where it's like every single night, right? Because it was between him and Mitch. They were so interchangeable. It was like, all right, who's having a better night playing the 5? Is it Mitch tonight? Is it Hartenstein tonight? So for what he did and like how he turned around, I'll give him a 7.
Yeah. And I also I like how he late in the season they had some really big matchups against opposing bigs. I just liked how he battled, man. Sacramento. He had to tangle with Sabonis. You had the Clippers. He's got to go up against Zubac. You had the Lakers. He's got AD. Portland. It was Nurkic. Denver. It was Jokic. I mean, obviously, these opposing bigs, they are who they are, right? But I thought he gave a valiant effort, man. I thought he gave a valiant effort. I was at the Denver game. I watched that. Watched him on the West Coast trip. I thought he gave some really good efforts out there. And those games, when you look at it, Sacramento, 9 boards, 11 against the Lakers, 11 against Portland the next night, 9 against the Denver Nuggets in a win, 8 against Minnesota. He had some good stretches, man. And this is all, most of this is off the bench. Now, he did finish some games here and there as well. But he had some high rebounding games off the bench as well, man. 9 against the Heat, 8 against Cleveland, 8 against Washington, 8 against Indiana to, I think, when they were getting close to the finish in the season. So I like how he competed. I like how he competed, man.
Healthy this entire season, too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he played all 82.
Played all 82, man.
You don't see that too often.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. It said, well, let's see here. He, played 82.
All 82.
He started 8 games and played in 82. So, good job. Now, he's on the last year of a $8 million deal. Gonna be interesting to see what they do going forward.
Would you re-sign him?
I think if they do, it'd be like on a 1+1 with a team option. Because you're getting closer and closer to having to, you got to pay IQ.
Yeah.
A couple of years, you got to pay Brunson. If Julius is still here, you got to pay Julius. So you're already paying Mitch 10. So I think they go 1+1 type of situation, maybe 2+1, and then move from there. But in this one, he's got 2 years. His the 2-year deal, 2 years, $16 million that he signed. Both years were guaranteed, full, no options.
What do you think that means for Jericho Sims?
I think Jericho ends up being a backup center somewhere else.
Okay.
And maybe in one of these drafts, they go look to get another guy on a rookie scale contract.
I'm curious to see. I feel like this season will. Let's see. They got Sims for one more year. I can see the 1+1 being more of the realistic option because I think they'll go into like that last year of Sims' contract to see what do we have here, right? And then they'll make the decision on who they want to keep moving forward.
Yeah,
just because Sims is like he's another strong big man. That his vertical can be needed. He also played some important games too this past season, you know, and still a developing player in this league. I can also see the investment saying, "Hey, we'll pay Sims probably less than Hartenstein and continue to develop him too."
Definitely less. But I think Sims is going to find himself in another situation where they're going to be looking around the league to see if he can get a legit backup spot or compete for a legit backup spot and not just be supplanted by a free agent pickup. You know. So he's going to be in an interesting spot as well. But for Hartenstein, you're not just going to keep giving a backup bigs these raises any higher than what he's getting right now. Like, you just can't do it with that new CBA, man. You just can't allocate your funds that way. So I don't see him, unless he's coming back to the table on a much, much cheaper deal. You're talking about, like, veteran minimum. That's what you're going to be looking like, man. And we're going to talk about, it's a good way to segue and promote tomorrow's NBA report. We're going to have Mike Vorkunov from The Athletic on and kind of touch on this new CBA and the impact that it had on this year's free agency market. Austin Rivers had some very interesting comments about the hollowing out of the NBA middle class, man. So we're going to get into that, have an interesting conversation beyond the game and dig into the numbers a little bit, man. So looking forward to that one.
We've had Keith Smith on.
Keith Smith, yep.
We had we had Trevor on.
Trevor Lane from Laker Nation.
Yep.
We had Trevor Lane on. My guy Kevin O'Connor is coming on this week. KOC from The Ringer is coming through to the NBA report, man. So we've had some great guests, and we're going to continue to do so as we prep for the upcoming NBA season, man. So very much looking forward to that. And great show, man. Great show, Al. I'll let you get back to
oh my God,
whatever
man.
you bougie people do down there in Martha's Vineyard,
Coming from the guy, hold on. Coming from the guy who went to Jason Calacanis' party. Where was my invite, buddy?
Shout out to J Cal, man. All in summer
Yo,
down,
you went
down
to
in Miami.
you went to that all white party affair with KOC.
Yeah. Me and KOC was down there. Yeah. It was a good time.
You're talking about me like I'm over here, like living it up.
Yeah, I'll let you get back to your wine and cheese, bro. Yeah, I'll let you get back to your wine and cheese, bro. I'll let you get back to your wine and cheese, man. Let me salute the super chats that are coming here. Salute to everybody, man. You tapped in with us. Shout out to Mr. Don's 3-month loyal franchise channel member, man. Shout out to Akiva. Shout out to the Rhyme Animal Chuck D once again. $20 super chat from Chuck. He says, we need one guy like Josh Hart. It's important we surround that type of player with complimentary, ready, and alert players. Absolutely right. Surrounded by a leader, JB, scorers, rebounder, protector, playmaker, penetrator, trade shooters. Absolutely right, man. Shout out to Gamba, 6-month loyal franchise channel supporter and a member of Team KFTV. Says RJ's been working on his hezzy game with Drew Hanlon for the last 3 years. He needs to follow Grimes' lead and learn from multiple people. Yeah, RJ's in the gym. RJ's in the gym getting after it. You know, looking a little
lean.
I'm not sure. I don't know about lean. I mean, it could be video. It's hard to see with the angle, man. He's looking bigger, man.
Look, man, your team CAA. Look, you interviewed the man, dude. You got the connections. You know about all these. You know what they're all doing. Come on.
We'll see with Team Canada, man. I'm looking forward to FIBA, man. I'm looking we have so many guys involved in it. I'm looking forward to FIBA. We're gonna be tapped in tomorrow night. I think we're gonna do a post-game live, USA versus Puerto Rico post-game show.
Really?
Yeah, I'll be here.
Oh wow,
I'll be here. We're breaking it all down, man. All down. Yeah, I'm into it, man. Brunson's leading the way. I'm into it, man. We don't need the dream team. We don't need that. We got Brunson and Hart leading the way. You see what everybody at Team USA, they're putting respect on our name. I'm here to support, man. We tapped
Let's go.
What channel is that game gonna be on? I mean, I would have to think it's either on TNT or ESPN.
Mr. Don's throwing the Puerto Rico flag in the chat.
Okay. All right. That's okay. You know, rep your country. Jamaica Queen 22 $10 super chats to salute KFTV, man. Salute Puerto Rico. I don't know, for some reason when Puerto Rico came up, I was thinking about DR, and I was thinking about DR because did you see the Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez fight?
Yo, what is happening, man?
Man, that was more entertaining than the Jake Paul Nate Diaz fight. And thank God for alternative viewing sources, because if I would have paid to watch that fight last night, I would have been thoroughly disappointed. But before watching that fight, Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez goes at it. But here's Tim Anderson. He wants to smoke. He drops the gloves, and then he gets dropped. He gets dropped, and Jose Ramirez is not even looking, catches him flush with a right hook and drops him to the point where this is where the insult to injury comes out. The whole bench had to carry Tim Anderson back to the bench because he's wobbly. He's woozy, man. Now Jose Ramirez is from DR. So I was joking with my guy Chico Fernandez from DR too. I said that Jose Ramirez shot, I said that's called the Santiago sleeper right there. Put him asleep. That's a Santiago sleeper right there.
The Santiago
sleeper put Tim Anderson to sleep. Now, we don't condone violence here on KFTV. This is a family show. This is all for commentary and to have laugh, because, you know, at the end of the show, we got to get to the dumb stuff. This is all for commentary purposes, people at home. It's still a family show. We don't condone violence. But the Santiago sleeper buckled him out of there.
Lex the Destroyer going back to Mortal Kombat days, saying, finish him.
Oh, yeah. Straight finished him with a no look. Tim, man, we got to get Tim in the gym.
Yo, I can't remember the name of the person in the chat, but someone mentioned Street Sharks. I was like, yo, that's throwing me back. Street Sharks.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Absolutely, man.
But also, CP, we got the reggae girls.
The Reggae Girls, let's go.
They're playing Tuesday, 4 a.m.,
against Colombia. Now, I won't be up watching, but if they win, I'll retweet and celebrate like everybody else.
Now, there's actually part of my family, the extended family from my wife's side. Her cousin's husband is from Colombia, so there's some beef right now. There's some beef.
All right.
There's some beef.
Yeah, man.
Question on who's Team Colombia in the family and who's Team Jamaica. Obviously, I'm Team Jamaica.
Yeah. No, I mean, praises to them, man, because I wasn't even dialed into what they were doing, because I just thought, a lot of times when we get into this thing, it's one and done. But they beat Brazil, and they're moving on. This is incredible. It's an incredible run. Team USA women just got knocked out this morning. So we with Jamaica full steam ahead, man. I'll check the highlights Wednesday morning and Tuesday afternoon and see what's going on, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, shout out to the Reggae Girls for real. But yeah, man, this then I was watching Nate Diaz and Jake Paul, man. You can't get me to that celebrity stuff. But the thing is with me is like, all right, yeah, I'm a Jake Paul hater. You know what I mean? After he put my guy Nate Robinson to sleep, I'm waiting for somebody to just come check him. And he sets up all these fights with guys who never fought before. But they're great promoters. Him and his brother, I give him credit. They're fantastic promoters for this day and age. They really know how to tap into their social audience and following, and have really cultivated a multi-million-dollar brand for themselves. Yeah.
From Vine, from the days of Vine, they've done all this.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
So, Nate Diaz, man, washed up UFC fighter, but he was a badass in his day. Nate's just so going around, he's giving them love taps. I'm like, what's going on here, man? Thank God for alternate viewing sources. Because, sorry, man. I'm sorry, Jake. You can't get my money like that, man. I'm just sorry, man. You can't get it.
Wake me up when it's a real fight, bro.
Yeah. and Nate, I forgot what they call it in UFC, but he's one of those guys. Like, Nate's like that. Tony Ferguson's like that. Like, if you just, breathe on them, they're split open. Wide open. I mean, they're just bleeding all over the place. And by the first round, he's already in the corner. His cornerman's got to, dab him up, clean up blood. After Jake Paul just, smacked him real quick. He bleeds very easy, man. Very
easy. Stitches.
Yeah. Yeah. Watch a little SummerSlam, too. I was all over the place Saturday, man. I had a good Saturday, man. I had a good Saturday.
Caught the Ninja Turtles.
It was the back of my childhood, man. Watch a little SummerSlam.
Sounds like a good weekend.
Yeah, it was a great weekend. Great weekend, man. Great weekend. Great weekend, man.
Anything else that was great about it?
Shout out to Poppa Left. Poppa Left getting married, bro. Yeah, shout out to Poppa Left. A KFTV original. We got to big up Poppa Left, man. Wanted to get out to his wedding. Couldn't get out there. But we salute him and his bride, man. Poppa Left looking official. Got married today, man. So salute to Poppa Left. His wife's family's Jamaican, actually. So shout out to him, man. Yeah, shout out to him. Yeah, man. So Poppa Left knows what it is. He knows where the vibe is at, man. I'm sure it was a real Boschman ting at Poppa Left's wedding, man. A lot of white rum, a lot of pudding. A lot of rum cake going on. I knew that. I think Anthony went, so we were represented. Okay. We were represented, man. So shout out to Poppa Left, man. Absolutely. Okay, man. That is it. Great show, everybody. We'll see you guys on Monday. NBA report, man. Mike Vorkanoff of The Athletic is going to join us. So make sure you guys tap into that. It's going to be a great show, thought-provoking show. So make sure you guys tap into that during the lunch hour on the NBA report. Remember that the show is available in audio podcast format, man. No reason to miss it. All the major podcast platforms. And remember to support our sponsors, man. Caldera Lab, fellas. Get your skin in check, man. You know some of you guys out there, got those blemishes and some of the acne and whatnot. That's all good. It happens. But there's things that you could do with it. And just check out our guys from Caldera Labs. Use promo code KFTV for 20% off. Great deal as you get into these products and try these products. And then also you got manscaped.com. Promo code KFTV, 20% off plus free shipping. All right, Al. Have a great time. Enjoy your wine and cheese. And we'll tap in with you guys, man. Number one show for the fans, by the fans. Al's Mad Bougie's out in Martha's Vineyards,
Stop it.
eating wine and cheese under the stars and whatever they do out there.
Man, I am drinking water and enjoying it.
All right, man. Have a great